appointments this evening, no public hearings this evening. New business, Mr. Shivo?
None.
Mrs. Smith?
None.
Okay. Old business, Mr. Shivo?
None.
Mrs.
None.
Smith? Town Administrator's report, Mr. Buckner.
On the budget process for FY15, the Finance Committee meets in the next week or so to consider the budget as a whole. They've completed their meetings with the larger departments. Draft warrant with a budget will be presented to the board on April 8th. Annual town meeting schedule, as I've said, all articles are due by March 31st at noon, and then I will be reviewing them with town council that afternoon. Annual rabies clinic is Saturday, April 5th, 12 noon to 2 p.m. behind the fire station. Cost is $10. Cats must be in a carrier, dogs must be on a leash, and by law, all cats and dogs over 3 months must be vaccinated. We've heard from the Buddhists that the grand opening ceremony is Sunday, June 15th. And there will be other activities taking place June 12th through the 14th. Upcoming next Selectmen's meeting, Roger Stolte up again. And we've got a couple collective bargaining sessions scheduled, OPIU on Thursday, police on April 9th.
Any questions for Randy? Selectmen, Mr. Shivo? Mrs. Smith? Okay, I have one quick one. I know we've been working on the process for a number of years, really, based on feedback with our firefighters and our fire chief, and I think it's time that we move forward with the addition of one new permanent full-time firefighter starting the budget July 1. We've been able to incorporate that into the existing budget in part by reducing overtime costs, which I think is a positive all around. And I would ask for the board's permission to move forward with that, formally notify the chief, and begin the process with the understanding that it's contingent upon the budget passing at town meeting.
I so move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That is approved. Thank you. That is all I have. Correspondence. We have correspondence from David Cotney, the Commissioner of Banks. Please be advised that the Division of Banks will be holding a public hearing on the license application filed by Walmart stores. The applicant has applied to become licensed to operate as a check casher at 160 Broadway, Raynham, which is a new facility. When considering an application for a check casher license, the division is required to assess the impact of the proposed business on the local economy and public safety. This hearing is being held in the area of the proposed store location to afford residents of affected neighborhoods and interested parties an ample and meaningful opportunity. That hearing will be here in the Selectmen's Meeting Room, 558 South Main Street, on Monday, April 14th at 6 p.m. If we have any questions or comments, we can either do that by writing or do that at the hearing. Does the board offer any input at this time?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we do respond in writing and express our concern for this request, and that we, in fact, do not approve it.
I will second that motion.
Okay, any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that is approved. Randy, you can get that letter out for us. Okay. An update from the school department. March 12th, the BR Regional School District held the FY15 public budget hearing. The proposed FY15 budget will be presented to our full committee for a vote on March 26th, which is tomorrow. The budget subcommittee administrative team have worked diligently to create a budget that is both fiscally responsible and appropriate for the funding required. Attached is that, and Randy, I don't believe we'll have any issues with our budget to accommodate.
No.
We have a letter of retirement and correspondence from our Highway Superintendent, Roger Stolte, to the board. It is with some excitement and apprehension that I submit my letter of resignation effective July 31st, 2014, after 17 years with the Raynham Highway Department as your superintendent. Of course, the thought of retirement has been on most of our minds since the day we started work. Now that the day is about here, other thoughts come to mind as to what one does now. As Don McKinnon has advised and has set such a great example, one must always keep the mind and body busy. I intend to do my best to follow his advice. Hopefully, my future efforts will have a similar impact to my community and those around me. I want to thank this board and the previous boards for renewing my contract for these 17 years and giving me this opportunity to practice my craft and serve your community. It wasn't all about being employed. We did get some things done of which I am proud. I am also thankful for all the support I have received from both upper management and employees of my department. As we know, no man is an island, and this position was an example of how important working together can be if one wants to create successful outcomes. The folks that make up our town government and our residents are good people, and it was a joy to serve. I know I will leave with the many memories to enjoy for years to come. It is my hope that the town of Raynham has many good years of fortune and happiness. Roger Stolte.
Accept his resignation with regrets.
I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
And we certainly thank Roger for his service and appreciate the ample notice so we can start the process of finding a replacement. From Bristol Plymouth, the BP School District Committee will hold a public hearing to review the FY15 budget on Tuesday, April 1st at 5:45 PM in the lecture hall. That's from the superintendent. From FD Jones Electrical, to whom it may concern, we took a permit on Mark Daney on 115 Phyllis Road, Raynham on 11/27/13 for $40. We did not put the generator in his home, and they are requesting the reimbursement. Randy, do we have a recommendation from Dennis?
Yes, he's okay with that.
Okay.
Yeah, motion that we remit the $40.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That is approved. An update from the Director of Planning Development, John Charbon, on the beekeeping zoning bylaw. This was edited to an extent after last week's discussion, and I also did have an opportunity to talk to Mr. Grace in greater detail on the phone, and I think he understood where we were coming from, and I think we better understand where he was coming from, so definitely a more encompassing article. Tag days, we have parents of Premier and Weymouth, and we have the baseball coach for Eastern Little League, and those dates have been approved.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those are approved. We'll go back to department heads now. Jim Donovan, Chief.
Evening. I'd like to start off with this discussion related to the intersection of Elm Street and North Main Street. At Randy's request, myself, Mr. Stolte, and Mr. Baderas from the Highway Department went out, looked at the intersection. We've looked at it before. It's a difficult spot. It's an oddity. We all know the history of it. It's kind of chopped off and sitting there by itself. So it is truly unique. We've made some changes, I think maybe a year or two ago, to prevent, hopefully, and it seems to have worked, it has worked, for the traffic that's coming from 138. Some of the folks miss the fact that there's even an intersection there, and they drive straight through, and they end up in the foundation hole over there. Roger put a sign up there last year, and it seemed to have solved that. But it obviously still has problems with the flow of traffic and safety there. So some of the specific recommendations we're making now is to place a stop sign at the dead end, we call, of North Main Street. The part that was cut off when 495 was built. When you come up to where the intersection is, there would be a stop sign there for that traffic coming from that way. Mr. Stolte would like to put an advisory sign in the middle of the road which says road closed with an arrow. I have a picture of what the sign would look like here. I'll give to the board. That would be, of course, temporary. It's just kind of stuck in the pavement. Obviously looking for a more permanent solution down the road, no pun intended, with that intersection. And then the third sign would be placed, right now I think the sign says something to the effect of through traffic, keep right, through traffic to 138 in front of Rosina's property. That's the traffic coming from Bridgewater heading west. The sign would now read right turn only for that traffic. As I say, these are temporary solutions. One of the things that we had discussed was the potential or the plan in Bridgewater to construct a comparable apartment complex to Chestnut Farm directly across from where North Main now hits Route 104 in Bridgewater. Perhaps some mitigation from that could be used to permanently alter that intersection and make it safer for everyone. Mr. Stolte has reached out to an engineer to get a ballpark on figures or get some ideas on what that might entail. And I have a letter that supports this. I have Roger's excellent diagram that he did here, and a picture of the stop sign.
Okay.
Yep, I make a motion that we implement the changes that the chief has described, and hopefully that'll be a step in the right direction.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That is approved. Anything else, Chief?
Yes, just my normal monthly overview. We still have an officer on injured on duty status, hoping to get him back next month. The officer that was on extended sick leave will be back next week or the week after. Hiring process is ongoing. In-service training for the full-time officers is complete in the next couple of weeks, and then the part-time officers will begin their cycle. We logged 981 incidents since we last talked. We've charged 38 people with crimes. We've had some significant arrests since we last met. I last met with the board. On February 26th, we arrested someone for rape and indecent assault and battery on a child. Also on the 26th, we arrested someone for violating a restraining order. On March 1st, we had a drug arrest. On March 5th, we arrested a fellow that was going to numerous home improvement stores, doing a larceny scam, but donning a uniform of a United States Army soldier, which he had been one, but he had not been one in about 9 years. That was particularly offensive, and we were able to apprehend him up in Quincy. We had, on March 9th, we had a OUI second offense. On March 13th, we executed a search warrant and arrested 3 for selling heroin here in town. On the 14th, we arrested someone for drug possession. Also on the 14th, we arrested a felon for failing to submit DNA sample. They're required to submit now. On the 15th, we had a pursuit with people from Rhode Island that went to Walmart at Paramount Drive, stealing a widescreen TV. Those folks were arrested. On the 19th, we seized 47 bags of heroin and arrested a guy who was operating on the influence of that heroin. On the 22nd, an officer spotted a vehicle back into another vehicle, stopped that vehicle, and arrested the operator for a second offense operating on the influence. On March 24th, we arrested the same fellow I told you about last month that was drunk driving, breaking into the electronic cigarette store. He was released on bail, and a couple weeks ago he attempted to break into the ATM machine at the Bristol County Savings Bank with a large pry bar. We arrested him yesterday for that. We also had a very violent domestic disturbance yesterday involving a knife and strangulation, and both of them were held on $10,000 bail. Overall, on the heroin issue, we've been very proactive on that. It seems to have slowed down a bit. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but myself and 5 other officers attended the Narcan training, even though, as I told the board, the fire department is always right there with us. It was very informative about what is actually taking place during an overdose, the actual physiological effects, how the Narcan is working, actually stopping it from taking place, and the dangers that occur after that. So although the fire department or whoever may administer the Narcan, the person is still in danger, and that was important for us to learn. All the officers have reviewed chapters 123, 35, section and section 12, which is the 2 chapters and section we use on the folks that have these substance abuse problems. And we're using that vigorously. We are applying for those warrants ourselves. If we come across particularly a Raynham resident that meets the definition of someone who needs treatment, we are petitioning the court and coming back and bringing them to the court and getting the court to order them to detox. We have stepped up our investigations of overdoses. Typically in the past, an overdose on a fatality, yes, it would entail some investigation. We're doing that even on a living overdose. We are chasing down where that product came from. So far, there's no specific pattern to that. We've been to Roslindale, we've been to Providence, we've been to Fall River, Taunton. So it runs the gamut so far, what we're learning. As I said, we executed a search warrant. We've arrested 6 people in the last month. And I have a request of the board you could help us out with, if you so choose. Today I attended a meeting at the Sheriff's Department with all the Bristol County Chiefs of Police and also the Chiefs of Police from Rhode Island. on this issue. There is a federal program called HIDTA, High Intensity Drug Trafficking. Bristol County currently is not designated as part of the HIDTA program. With you folks, the other chiefs, if we reach out to our federal partners, we could maybe get Bristol County included in the HIDTA program, which would avail all of Bristol County to more resources to deal with this drug problem. It's something I might be reaching out to the board and ask for some assistance on that. And Walmart. The new Walmart is open. It's been open since the 15th, and we've already been there 5 times. All 5 shoplifters we dealt with there have either been female or male. Female or juvenile. Every single one of them, which is the kind of thing that I've been talking about for a couple of years in terms of our lockup and the lack of, or lack thereof, the facilities to deal with females and juveniles. As you know, we went to 36 Paramount Drive 763 times last year. They were 33% of the people charged with crimes in Raynham came from one address. And this year, in 2014, we've already been to Paramount Drive 99 times. So I just wanted to keep the board abreast of that. And that's about it for what I have tonight.
Any questions?
Thank you.
No, good job.
Thank you. Okay. The press is not with us tonight. There's no emergency business, and we have no members of our community present this evening. The only other thing I do believe that we have is based on a conversation with our town clerk, Mr. Sylvia. As the board knows, we received a request from the Sewer Commission, which was based on a petition from a number of neighborhoods to add additional expansion of our sewer system. As a result, that would require a debt exclusion. In past years, we had gone to town meeting and then had the election, but that was as a result of missing the opportunity for our annual elections. Our town clerk has informed me, and I believe you as well, Mrs. Smith, that we still have an opportunity to get it on our annual meeting. That was her recommendation, and I would tend to concur. It would result in a cost savings to the town by not having to hold an additional special election. And we would just do it in reverse, which Mr. Buckner has informed me is legal, and that is to do a election followed by a town meeting. And if they pass at both, then it passes. What is the board's pleasure on that, or any comments?
Well, as I understand it, Mr. Chairman, that if we, and it sounds like we are able to do this, that this would certainly be a cost savings to the town, so that we don't have to hold a separate ballot. We can do that during the normal course of our elections that are coming up in a few weeks. And as you've already indicated, given that it is voted at the ballot, approved at the ballot, then it would go to the town meeting for town vote. I feel that this is a reasonable thing. If we, and as long as it's okay with the powers to be, I think we should go ahead.
Absolutely. It's a cost-saving plus time-saving issue. And I thank our town clerk for doing a little bit of research and figuring out, yeah, we do have enough time to get it on. So,
Do I have a motion?
Make a motion that we proceed according to what we just described.
and I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Randy, you can notify Marcia on that?
Yep.
Okay, any other business tonight?
None?
It's the board's pleasure.
Adjourn and perform administrative duties.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned, thank you.